Before we start, I just wanted to open up and share a few thoughts. So, talking about Kareem, I don't think, make sure I get all my thoughts in line here. I don't think, when we're talking about the hit itself, I think the way I look at it was very clean. And I think I'm looking at watching the film, obviously watch the film, shoulder to shoulder hit. And one of the things that I think I have a problem with, I think a lot of guys in the league have a problem with, is the clarity aspect of what is asked upon us as players. Anyone that has played this game or even watches the tape knows that decisions are made within milliseconds of plays. And once you kind of commit to a play, you commit. Now, I'm not saying the rule itself is bad, because I love the fact that we're implementing things league-wide that are helping us, that are going to help us after our careers, that stay healthy, be healthy, and protect our brains. So I agree with the neck or head areas, but I think when a hit is applied and it applies to your shoulder, I just don't think that kind of falls into the spectrum. And I think he's being victimized for kind of the past couple weeks. And I just don't necessarily agree with that. I think we see hits all around the league where there are plays that are similar and they don't get called. And so I think the inconsistency and the lack of clarity in those things, and even coaching afterwards, if we're not supposed to do this, then please explain how it is supposed to be done. I think that will help us a lot as players, especially in the back end. One of the advantages that we do have is if we're not there to pick off the ball, we're there to separate the receiver from the ball. I mean, that's one of the advantages of playing on defense, and a disadvantage from a quarterback and receiver standpoint from throwing over the middle or kind of lofting a ball in a zoned area. A few other thoughts I had is I think the 4-game initial ruling was a little excessive. And I think the main reasoning is because that they knew that there was going to be an appeal and that you're going to get a reduced time. And the only reason I say that is because I'm not going to give specifics, but if you go back and look at our league's history, there's been guys that have done worse and have gotten off with less. And I'm not even talking about just in football. I'm talking about from a domestic abuse standpoint. I'm talking about from a DUI standpoint. There's just been things that have been done in our league that guys have been suspended on for way less, 1 or 2 games, sometimes a game, and then they appeal it and the game's taken away and they just get fined financially. And so I think that was something that needed to be talked about. And the last thing that I'll say about this is, even referring to the letter that was sent to Kareem, and so many words calling him a dirty player, that bothers me as a teammate. And I'm sitting up here talking to you guys, and I wouldn't be half the player I am if it wasn't for Kareem and the knowledge, both on and off the field, that he's bestowed upon me. And never at any point in time when I'm watching the tape from him or when I'm watching tape with him, does he ever come across as anything close to being a dirty player. If anyone goes and asks people that he's played with, college coaches, head coaches, defensive back coaches, teammates, even guys that he's played against, you'll never find anywhere in the vocabulary in terms of describing him that he's a dirty player. Kareem has to be one of the best people I know, one of the best teammates I've ever had. And anything that I am as a player has been because I've gotten a chance to learn and grow with Kareem. And so that the whole dirty player analogy that we're kind of trying to stick to his name and his reputation is, excuse my language, absolute bullshit. And I would feel like I would be doing a disservice if I got up here and didn't at least mention that. And with that being said, I would really appreciate if for the rest of this press conference, if we keep the questions and comments and concerns to Kansas City, because we are playing a really great opponent at home, a divisional opponent. And we all know, we've talked about it multiple weeks before about Kansas City and, the losses there. And so we need to be able to come at home and win this game. And with all due respect to who we're playing, I'd like to keep the rest of the questions, comments, and concerns geared towards that.
So P.J. is going to likely start. Sean wasn't ready to commit to that, so packages matter. But P.J. gets some more snaps. What have you seen from him beyond that? Obviously, game-setting pick that you like about being paired with him. bulk of the work.
Yeah, PJ is a heck of a player, and I think he's one of those guys that almost prepares like a backup quarterback. Anytime you ask a backup quarterback, their preparation is crazy because they do everything they can in terms of preparation to play, and then they just are waiting their turn. And I think that's an accurate way to kind of describe PJ. PJ has done everything he can week in and week out. Even when he was on IR, I mean, he stayed late, came early, writing down notes. And I love his communication. You guys know, that's the number one thing I talk about. And as long as we can communicate well, everything will take care of itself. And so I have no concerns with PJ. PJ is going to do a great job for us if he's called upon. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited about PJ, and his opportunity.
Justin, his interception, the athleticism was just off the charts. As a fellow player, how impressed were you by that kid?
Yeah, I tried to give a little insight without giving away exactly what was going on, but just so you know, like to be a half field safety and to be +2 at the bottom of the numbers, like just inside the numbers, and to be able to make a game-saving interception on basically the numbers on the other side of the field, but before the ball is thrown, after the ball is thrown or while it's in the process of being thrown, is unbelievable athleticism. I told him after the play, or when we got back in the locker room, we were celebrating. I was like, bro, I like to pride myself on a little bit of my range at times, but I don't even know if I would have made that play, man. You had some real gas, and that was just a heck of a play, and I'm so proud of him. And it's just, meticulous attention to detail and execution, and that's what will happen for him. So more plays like that for him are coming for sure.
Justin, you guys have lost 16 straight to the Chiefs. How frustrating has that scenario been, and what kind of premium is there, obviously, on getting them up the upper path?
Yeah, it's frustrating, but it's a new team. It's a new year. Right now, we lost to them one time. It's 2023, and we got to find a way to get a win at home.
You've had pretty good success against Mahomes, really, over the last 3 or 4 ball games. What are the things that you take from those, realizing that it's a constant change with a guy that's that talented, and apply and hope that you can have some consistency in stopping him?
Yeah, I think, from a defensive standpoint, maybe there's been, I'll say from an individualistic standpoint, maybe there's been an inkling of success, but I always look at it from an overall defensive standpoint. And while there has been, some success here or there, I ultimately measure it by if we won or if we lost. And not to sound like, I'm beating a drum when I'm up here talking, but I do, that is how I view it. And so when I go in and I'm looking at the film and I'm watching what we did last week, and I'm watching, how the KC offense prepares for, other teams that they're playing, I like to look at situationally what set those teams up to win or what set those teams up to lose. And, once again, I'll go back to the last time we played them, in Arrowhead on that Thursday night game. Offense goes down and score. We make it a 1-possession game, 16-8. And if we get a 3 and out, we have an opportunity to give our offense the ball back and go down to tie the game. And then, and anything's up at that point in time. But we weren't able to do that, gave up a field goal there at the end. And, the score is 19-8 to end the game. So those are the things, like, a lot of people are going to talk about, what you held them to and this, that, and the other. But that's the thing that I watch and I look at and I'm like, man, like, do all that and you get to that last possession, for better lack of a term, and we got to find ways to win that.
Time for 1 or 2 more.
They're so good at it. There's 10 seconds left. There's 12 seconds left. He punts it away, and they get in the field goal range really quickly. Is that kind of, are those the hidden points in terms of how to get a win against some eliminating that sort of thing?
Yeah. Same thing. Happened at halftime. They were able to get those 3 points there. It was a heck of a kick, towards the end of the half. But yeah, now that, now instead of it being 16-8 towards the end, it's, who knows if we go for 2 or not, but it's 13-8. And once again, it's a different ball game. Then we hold them to a field goal, 16-8, and now our offense has a chance to go. So yes, all that does factor in. And they're this goes without saying, they're extremely talented. A lot of their stuff happens off timing, like off rhythm, and that's what makes them special. You know, the Mahomes, Kelsey, MVS, the guys that they have there, Sky Moore, like they just do a great job of finding ways to just get open. And Mahomes is, an elite talent and can always find ways to get those guys the ball.
What makes Kelsey so hard to stop?
Yeah, I just think it's it's obviously his ability physically is special, but I honestly think the number one thing is just his knowledge of the game and what the defense is running, and he always finds the soft zones in the zones, and he's always able to find his way open. Honestly, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like when you're playing against him. And Mahomes does a great job of buying enough time for him to find those spaces. And so we just got to do a good job of, like I said, communicating is always number one, finding where he's at. If the defense calls for it, getting hands on him, putting the right eyes, to him when we need to. And then we just got to do a good job with our rush as well, containing Mahomes, making sure he doesn't buy extra time. And we just got to be, all 11 have to be on board when you're playing a team like KC, and we will be on Sunday.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.